Following presentation is an analytical rehaul of the Priceline.com terms and conditions contract currently in effect on their website. The audience should understand the suggestions and call to actions recommended for Priceline in detail by the end of the presentation. This presentation was prepared to meet the requirements expected of the Digital Marketing Mastery Degree student at Full Sail University for the online class titled Digital Marketing in the Law. This presentation was prepared and presented by myself, Patience Sterling, on December 21st, 2019. The audience should prepare to review the following topics in reference to the Priceline.com user agreements and terms and conditions contracts currently active on their live website. Priceline was founded in 1997, intending to help its users get the best travel deals on airline tickets and hotel rates. The company is best known for the Name Your Own Price system that allows people to bid on travel deals. Recently, Priceline introduced another way for travelers to save money with their Express Deals program. With Priceline.com, you can flexibly book travel amenities when you're going away from home for a while. Or, if you think that you're a good haggler, you can try out the Name Your Own Price function. Pick a few details about your trip and tell Priceline what you're willing to pay for it. And then let it find you a company that's willing to accept your offer. That's the power of negotiation. Priceline first became known for its Name Your Own Price system, where travelers would name their price for airline tickets, hotel rooms, car rentals, and vacation packages. While the purchaser can select a general location, service level, and price, the sales are for opaque travel inventory. Details are disclosed only after the transaction is complete with no possibility of cancellation. Priceline's profit from the proceeds is the difference between the price suggested by a customer and the one charged by the service provider. It has also added a more traditional model called Express Deals, where travelers have presented prices but are not told the name of the establishment. Travelers can still choose to name their price for airline tickets, hotel rooms, and rental cars. The number of airlines, hotels, and car rental company participants in the Name Your Own Price program has increased as these suppliers utilize this opaque market. Priceline created to sell their perishable inventory without lowering prices through their other traditional sales channels. Priceline also sells discounted cruises as well as tours and attractions. Our source from techboomers.com tells us about the 5 main features of Priceline.com and its online travel agency functionality. The first is their hassle-free bookings for all of your accommodations, including flights, hotels, and car rentals. Priceline makes it easy to be in control of your trip bookings from start to finish. You can reserve seats on an airplane flight, rooms at a hotel, rental cars, and even cruises or entire vacation packages. The second is their drive a hard bargain with the Name Your Own Price. If you like taking a gamble in order to get a better deal, try booking an accommodation through its Name Your Own Price function. You get to choose some of the essential details regarding your booking and then tell Priceline what you want to pay for it. Based on your bid, it will try to match you with an airline, hotel, or car rental company willing to accept your price. If they succeed, they will fill in the rest of the details about your booking for you. The third is their alter or cancel bookings if you have a change of plans. Usually, if you go through the regular channels for booking an accommodation on Priceline, then you can change or cancel your booking if something comes up. Simply enter your email address and itinerary number, and you should be able to change a few details about your accommodation or at least cancel it outright. You can also try contacting Priceline customer service or the company that you booked with through Priceline and see if they can help. The fourth is their Sleep and Save with coupons for hotel bookings. Chances are that you'll already be getting a bargain on your hotel room when you book through Priceline's Name Your Own Price system, but you can also sign up for their email newsletter and get exclusive coupon codes to hammer down your costs even further. You may even be able to find some of these codes on virtual coupon websites. And then lastly, their fifth is their get in touch with the customer service through multiple channels. If you need some extra assistance with using Priceline, we'll head to their help page and start a live text chat with one of their customer service representatives, or send their customer service department an email by using their convenient inquiry form, or you can just call their toll-free customer service phone number. So Priceline is one of many online traveling booking websites. So it's not the only option if you're looking to book your next vacation. If it's not right for you, you can check out some of their competitors, such as Orbitz.com and Expedia. And if you're looking for affordable accommodations, not in a hotel, you can rent space from a property owner through VRBO. And then if you'd like to find more information about an area that you're thinking about visiting, you can check out TripAdvisor. There you'll learn about the best restaurants and attractions in that area. Overall, Priceline.com is right for some, but not for all. A great feature is that it has multiple options and ways to book your vacation. You can use their basic booking system if you're not looking for the best bargain, or try to get a deal with their name your own price system. They also occasionally have coupons to save on your hotel bookings, and their customer service representatives can be reached in multiple ways. On the other hand, some cons are that when you use the name your own price system, you have to be patient waiting for the details of your booking. You won't be told the airline or a specific hotel until you've completed it. And during the booking process, if your bid is too low, you're just going to have to start the whole process all over again. A term of use is an agreement that a user must agree to and abide by in order to use a website or service. Terms of use, or TOU, can go by many other names, including terms of service, or TOS, and terms and conditions. Terms of use are often seen on e-commerce sites and social media websites, but it is not limited to those types of websites and should be used with any website that stores personal information of any kind. A term of use that is legitimate and is a legally binding agreement is also subject to change, which should be noted in the disclaimer. Websites should always have a term of use regarding user activity, accounts, products, and technology. The term user agreement refers to any agreement that's put in place between an owner, operator, or provider of a website, mobile app, or web-based service that dictates and defines the scope of rights and responsibilities between both parties. It doesn't matter what name you give to one of these agreements. There are two different types of website agreements. There's a browser wrap and a click wrap. These two can be different and will directly impact the application of a website's terms of use. The browse wrap agreement is one that has the terms of the agreement on the website itself and are connected to the main page of the product by a hyperlink. The hyperlink leads to another web page that will have the terms and conditions of the agreement detailed. With this type of setup, the terms do not pop up and they do not require an action to be taken by the user in order to continue. That means that the user is not actively agreeing to the terms linked to the page. This causes an issue because the user of the web page must actively click on the hyperlink in order to even access the terms of use and become aware of them. This is a different way of ensuring the user agrees to the terms, and it can lead to potential issues because the website is not requiring the user to take any action. The click wrap agreement is different because it is designed to ensure that the user has a chance to see the terms of use, and they must also actively agree to the terms in order to agree. This tends to be set up through a series of pop-ups on the website. With this type of agreement, the terms are actively placed in front of the user so they have to review and agree to them, which means that your website is better protected as a result. This also means that the terms must be agreed to prior to any action being taken by the user. They can hold up better legally if they're ever needed. Of the two, click wrap agreements are more secure and more enforceable. But why have terms of use to begin with? The following are 5 main reasons businesses decide to develop terms of use for their websites. The first reason you need a term of use on your website is you can mitigate liability for your website. When things go wrong, people want to find someone to blame. If you do not use a disclaimer of warranties on your website, then the blame could easily be put on you. If you do have a disclaimer of warranty on your website, then they cannot blame you if something goes wrong. Second reason you need a term of use on your website is you can define the permitted conduct for your website. In the terms of use, you can detail what users are and are not allowed to do on your website. It will define how they can use your website and the scope of the license that any of your users have in terms of your content. Depending on the nature of your website, you may even want to include terms on what users can upload or submit to your website. This makes sense for websites that allow users to post comments on content and blog posts, and especially if they are allowed to upload media files. Anything that ends up on your website is a direct reflection of your brand, so it makes sense to determine what is and what is not acceptable. Also, if you allow people to use your content elsewhere, your brand will be showcased by your users, and you want to make sure your brand is reflected always in a positive manner. The third reason you need a term of use on your website is set up an indemnification process for your website. As much as you want to, you cannot always control what your users do on your website. However, you can protect yourself against their actions in case they violate someone else's rights. For example, if one of your users decided to upload a file that violates the copyright of someone else and your website gets sued for it, you can make the user pay for all of the legal costs associated with it. While you will still need to take care of the copyright issue and make sure all legal action is taken, you will not be left with the bill that comes with it. The fourth reason you need a term of use on your website is implement limitation or exclusion of liability. A strong terms of use agreement is a great line of defense, but there are some cases that get around the provisions you created. That is why it is important to use your terms of use as a way to also limit the amount of damage your website will incur in the process. If someone does end up taking you to court and they have found a way around some of your provisions, this will allow you to limit the amount of money they can get from you during the process. And then the last reason you need a term of use on your website is to incorporate an arbitration clause. Whether the dispute is between you and a user or between you and two of your users, or your terms of use can outlaw how to resolve those disputes. So things do not end up in court. In your terms of use, you can require your users to handle their disputes in specific ways. This can prevent the situation from ending up in court in a place that is not close to your headquarters. While this is not a foolproof method, you can also require that they use mediation so they save money on court costs, or you can require that all court actions take place in your hometown. For your website, you want to make sure you include various components that will keep your website and business safe and secure in your terms of use. These are just a few of them that you need to have listed. The acceptance of terms. The second is license to use. The third is cookies. The fourth is acceptable use policy. The fifth is international use and compliance. The sixth is user accounts. The seventh is modification of site. The eighth is support or maintenance. The ninth is privacy. The 10th is your rights and ownership. The 11th is disclaimers. And lastly, the 12th is termination and modification. Feel free to click the play button on this slide to navigate to Priceline.com's terms and conditions in a separate browser tab. We will be further reviewing Part 1, Sections A through F. Here you can see an overview of the terms and conditions table of contents regarding Priceline.com. We will be looking further into Part 1, Sections A through F. To do this, we must know how to determine the ability of a company to enforce the terms and conditions that they release onto their site for their users. Setting up enforceable terms of service requires specific placement, explanations, and proper record keeping, including the proper and obvious notification to users that the terms of service exists. Where legal agreement should not be buried in the website footer, courts have found this to be insufficient and the terms are not considered legally binding. Where click wraps that are too simple are not enforceable. The user must receive an obvious notification that the terms of service exist and use of the website confirms the user agrees to these terms. The user must click a button or check a box. This action helps confirm the user's agreement of the terms. And browser wraps may be easier for the user to use the website, proving acceptance is harder due to the lack of an action like clicking a button or checking a box. Tracking terms of service agreements can be difficult as it must be continually updated to reflect updated versions, dates, and acceptance data. If the terms of service agreement includes an unilateral provision which states the company can change the agreement without notifying the customers, the agreement is entirely unenforceable. Any changes to the terms must be relayed to the customer to be legal. A grace period may be included in the terms to let customers know changes may be made. In the second paragraph of the Priceline.com terms and conditions, you might immediately notice an unenforceable element or two, deeming this contract invalid and not pursuable in court in reference to the previous guidelines I just reviewed with you. You might also notice in the second paragraph of the Priceline.com terms and conditions where users of the Priceline.com site are automatically bound to agreements with the contract under claimed legal constitution. You might also notate the issue of the lack of awareness made to a site user when they visit the site. There are no pop-ups, and the terms and conditions link is hidden in the footer. Even during the checkout process, the user is not prompted to check a box in agreement, which really seems like an act of delusion on Priceline.com's part. Users should be aware that any arbitration clauses included may not actually be in their best interest. Arbitration clauses that stipulate any legal issues must be settled through arbitration companies. Arbitration companies are privately run and rule in favor of corporations. Although seemingly friendly when you first begin to read through this section, it can be very deceiving. You can sue Priceline.com, but on their terms and timeline and under their state's governing ruling. Terms of service are enforceable in civil and criminal court under the 1986 Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA. Accessing a computer without proper authorization or in a way that exceeds authorization is a federal crime. The CFAA is a vague and has been used to prove federal law violations, not just violations of the terms of service agreements. As a rule of thumb, your periodic checks should be done on a quarterly basis. Not only do you want to make sure that your terms of use are still making an impact, but you want to review and ensure that there are no gaps that you have missed before. This directly impacts your business and your website, so make sure you make these checks a priority. This update history should be made available to your site users, yet you'll notice the terms and conditions for Priceline.com is missing a date of published in totality. This disproves anything within the contract as it is untrustworthy in its ability to withstand in the court of law where updates might have been required, actions that Priceline.com has actually neglected. Priceline.com should consider a complete rehaul of their terms and conditions within their website to better instill a fair balance between their business and their customers. Please watch the video for a better synopsis regarding what fair should look like from a business's terms and conditions website regulation. This concludes my analysis on the Priceline.com's terms and conditions. I hope to have persuaded some much needed arrangements within Priceline's corporation to review and redo what they currently use as their user agreements. Sources will be provided throughout the remainder of the presentation so that they may supplement any loose connections you might have had previously. Thank you.